What's good, fam? Welcome back to the Zone. Now, before we dive into the video, first and foremost, I want to thank those of you who have been rocking with me for these past couple of weeks as we dive into the FBL and figuring out the type of format that I want for these videos. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Appreciate you clicking on this video. And so the way we try to do this is that the schedule is set up to where I randomize the teams that are being selected, and I try to make sure that we get new teams every week with the exception of the teams that I play with. So I only play with one of my teams on a given week, so it'll alternate between the Lakers, the Mavs, or the Pelicans. But in this case, this week, I'll be playing with the Lakers. And as you can see, we already took an L at the hands of Eli Harris, as well as Damian Sims, and Sean Hornacek. He's actually out with an injury, but we lost to the Rockets by 7 points. And today we're actually going up against the Boston Celtics, which I believe will be a tough game. And then following this game, we'll actually be going up against the Knicks, who we beat last week. But ultimately, this week is going to be one hell of a week. So with that being said, let's dive into it, and I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
From deep here. King outside. Here's Thunder. Off to a good start as he hits Newman. Taking a look at his stats, he's averaging around 7.5 points a game. To the middle. Nice pass. Nice catch.
He's making the game easier for his teammates.
Pass to Freak. Here's Thunder. Lakers working the ball around now. Here's Silk. He's coming off a 16-point game against Houston.
And he was relentless in that one. I mean, he wanted to be the first to every rebound and almost was.
A fantastic mobile one block. This one deserves another look.
Some intimidation right away. Got to show those shooters you're going to be there all night.
Here's King. He had a 12-point outing in their last game against Houston.
And he caused major problems with his defense as well. He had 4 steals by the time the game was over. And they're 1 of 5 to start this game. Just really haven't gotten into a flow offensively. And they don't want to get in a habit of giving him...
Boston leading by 5. Down low, Medina lays it up off the glass. From deep three-point range, but they'll get another chance. And down it goes, jamming. Now here's King. Trying to get something going. He takes it up and lays it in. This is to Thunder. Knocked loose. Here is Carney. Basket made. Just his second. Racers checked in for the Professor. Rainman's checked in for the Lakers. Here's Rainman. He's averaging around 5.5 points a game. And up the court come the Celtics on the break. Here's Carney. They get it again. It's good on the putback. Doesn't go. LA's gone 0-3 from three-point land. Nothing yet going outside. And really deep three that time.
A total defensive collapse. I mean, no reason to allow him that kind of...
Just a winner and somebody who I competed against for many years, but then having the opportunity to play with up close.
We saw him with 19 points his last outing. All by himself. Basket counts.
There are too many of those. A lack of concentration, a turnover, and an easy bucket in transition.
Fouled in the act of shooting. Gets the bucket anyway. So
you don't get many looks better from that range.
And it's blocked. Here's Big Cat. Lays it up and banks it in.
He's usually been money from that range.
Vega. They grab their own miss. And a good offensive board. Here's Vega. He shoots again. Whistle blows. Basket is good. So a chance here for a three-point. King outside. Now the pass to Silk. A minute and a half gone here in the second quarter. Here's Thunder. Falls through. He's now made 2 of 4. That's the Boston 5. Now here's Freak. Nothing yet on the scoreboard for him. It's good.
The edge.
Thunder's got his 4th rebound in this one. Inside. And the basket by Knox with the rebound. Lakers trail by 15. From deep. From beyond the arc and then some. And that's now 11 points for Silk. The professor passes to Lane. To the paint. Here's Rivera. And Freak throws it down. The monster passes it to Carney. Here's the professor. Still getting warmed up offensively. No scoring yet from him. Sinks the three-pointer. And the Celtics lead by 15.
Unwilling to let up even for he gets in a groove.
And we'll keep you posted as we find out more. And as we get closer to the three-point contest. Clock at 6. Pass to Silk. Launches a 3. Offensive rebound. And he finishes it off with
continues to build international academies to develop prospects from other countries. Already academy graduate.
That one drops and he's now 2. Pass to Underwood. Here's Thunder. And the Lakers tack on 2 more on the shot clock. Here's the eraser. The putback. Great positioning on the put. Green's got 4 rebounds now tonight. Here's Freak. Good, and it's Frazier who picks up. Guys, some great passing from him.
Yeah, everybody's touching it, and you're starting to see the assists pile up because the rhythm is on display offensively.
2 points. King outside, inside, and he stuffs it. What a pass to
making a statement for sure. I mean, we'll see if they can maintain that aggressive approach, guys.
And Boston has possession, following the bucket by the Lakers. Drops in the tray. 16.
Game has carried over here tonight.
And you know that's how it goes with him. I mean, his hot streaks, guys, don't last minutes. They last days.
Count the miss by the Celtics.
And there have been some terrible shot choices here, Kev. That's not a good look at all.
Lakers trail by 3. Here's Silk. There's the killer two-handed slam. Go. Now the Celtics take it the other way. 17 points was their biggest margin. Next up on the schedule, the Grizzlies. That'll be a home game. That game will conclude.
Has been about as good as you could ask for.
And now's the time for them to step on the gas pedal. Don't let up.
Here's the monster. He's got 10. And oh, he blocked it and deflects off the backboard. Here's Knox. The shot from the low post is good. The rebound. For Los Angeles, they've gone 7 of 12 from the floor since coming out of the break. Knox the pass to Thunder. And he takes it in for the layup on him. And for the Celtics, they're shooting at 36%. They really seem out of sync offensively. And Moncrief gets it to go. A new 14-second shot clock. That one's good. The Laker lead is cut.
I love his hustle, leaving the defense no time to react.
And, you know, you're going to get those buckets, guys, when you're quick to get out on the break. Get that ball.
3.
And gotta like what they've been doing down low in the post.
I certainly do. You know, I like to see. Hey, they've got a nice, comfortable lead here, fellas. Might as well keep it simple. Do it a plain, simple one-hander, just like pound cake.
Freak with it. Underwood passes to Knox. And right on through for another basket. Lakers leading by 7. To the inside. Here's Knox. That's his 6th field goal today.
That you need to make the most of every moment that we have here. You know, I just appreciated to really the fans getting to know Kobe once his career was over, because I think he was able to let his guard down.
By 7. Here's King. Out of bounds, Boston takes possession.
You know, I think he may have forced that.
From deep three-point range, but they get it back.
And they get it back again.
Down low, here's Terry, and he finishes nicely on the way. Lakers leading by 7. Knocks it loose. Thunder passes to Silk. It's tipped. Here's Newman. King with the steal. Trying to break that ice-cold streak.
Pressuring the ball and making a play that created the opportunity.
You know, you push it after a steal, there's almost...
Again, the miss by the Celtics. And Los Angeles guys shooting just 39% from the field, struggling to find that net.
Both team, clearly. It's helped them gain the advantage in this one.
Here's Newman. And there's the pass to Carney. Over Freak. Falls back and drains the fadeaway jumper. 23 points for the Profits.
And that's definitely a shot.
2 left to play here in the fourth. And now, a moment to present the New Balance Player of the Game, Thunder.
And he's just been crushing it from the field tonight, Kevin. Whether it's been on open looks or with the guy draped all over him, he just hadn't missed much. With his percentage in the sky-high range, they've had no choice but to make him.
He loves the aggressiveness on D. He said we're doing a great job of challenging everything they're trying to do.
Thank you, David. Knocks the pass to Silk. And he makes no mistake on the slam dunk.
Not surprised at all. He's
trailed by 8. Here's Newman. Passes it to Carney. Over Freak. Offensive rebound. He hangs in there and cashes in on the second chance points.
That is really good work there on the offense.
There's 38 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Chalk up 2 there.
Timeout, timeout.
33. King outside. And
it ain't over until it's over. We actually were able to eke out an 8-point win against the Celtics. Shout out to Raphael, who had a double-double with 33 points, 11 rebounds. Gilbert, who also had a double-double with 18 points, 14 rebounds, shooting 61.5% from the field. And Pablo, he started off slow, but he finished strong with 14 points, 7 boards, shooting 58% from the field. But shout out to Austin Carney with his 23 points, and Albert Medina, who was going off with 14 points, 16 boards, 2 steals, 4 blocks, and shooting 55.6% from the field. So I hope you enjoyed that, but let's get into our next game where we have the 76ers versus the Raptors.
Fernandez. And here comes the break. Here's Barlow. Off to a good start as he hits his first shot attempt.
I love to see the defense exhibit some passion in protecting the rim right there.
Wolf. First shot, first basket. He's out of the blocks fast.
And once he got to the 10, I think he was surprised.
Wallace looking for an opening. Fernandez, the pass to Lee. And here is Fernandez. Uses
Can't get them all to go.
Slim passes to Reed. Shoots from the right block. Lee with the block.
Not the most productive quarter he'll ever have, but his shot selection's been a little bit dubious.
And that one, good.
Boy, he is looking confident. Love how they're using him so far.
Yeah.
Now Fernandez. Over in the corner, Lee. Drills it from outside.
And that's exactly what he's looking for, draining the triple.
The 76.
I mean, a very smooth touch on his stroke.
Here's the chosen one. No points in the game yet for him. And that's good. A nice job in the glass. Wallace, right side. He dishes it to Lee. And he makes that one.
To a standstill.
Here's Pearson. Fouled on the shot and picks up 2 points. So 1 free throw coming up. He had an 18-point outing in their last game against the Hawks in Atlanta. With the floater, he gets it in there. And the Raptors lead by 13.
Defensively, they've got to pick up
off the back iron and out.
And if you ask me what percentage of the time he's making that shot, my answer would be in the single digits.
Yeah, that's not his spot. Plain and simple. He's trying to force.
He pulls it down. Toronto's gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. To the paint. Off to a good start as he hits his first shot attempt.
They've come out of the gate strong at both ends of the floor. Just in total control so far.
And the 3 ball is good. Booker's got 5 now.
Well, that's almost a sure thing when you leave him that wide open on the perimeter. I mean,
every night he's averaging right around 13.5 points a game. Now here's Booker. Good on the bucket.
Yeah, another nice bucket.
Wallace outside. He gets that one. Wallace outside. Pass to Wesley. A great 1-2 punch. Rain Man. Then there's the prodigy. And it's Fernandez in at the 5 down low. That's the group for Toronto to start the second quarter. Yes, that goes in. Gone here in the second quarter. Here's Law. Still looking for his first bucket in this one. Basket is good. He'll get a chance for one more at the line.
Now, how about how I'm glad I did.
I am glad you did too. You probably don't remember this. Doc Rivers and I were doing a game. You came over to say hi to the two of us. Went back out on the floor. Doc, nothing.
He's a good mind. The man knows what he's talking about.
And so here is Philadelphia. After Toronto picking up the basket just moments ago. That one's good.
And they've done well at taking advantage of some late defensive rotations and getting the ball in the paint.
Here's Money. 8 points for him. That one goes. Count it.
And they're beginning to just flat out fall apart defensively right now, especially on the interior. He's been a factor in crafting this huge lead.
Mr. Fundamentals passes to Wolf. Lee trying to get open. Makes them with his 3. Raptors leading by 12. To the middle. Here's Wolf. Makes that one.
They're finding lanes to the hoop now with consistency. 5 buckets in a row from the paint.
Here's Holloway. And there's the slam dunk to finish it off.
The finish was nice, but the setup was better.
Again, can't hit it. Toronto leading by 14. Lee with the ball. Garland picks him up to the wing right side. Blackwell. Offensive rebound. And another one. Pass to Holloway. And it goes down 2 points. Mr. Fundamentals got his second bucket tonight.
And they keep hammering away at him.
The Raptors have gone 6 of 11 from the floor. Over 50% shooting here in the second quarter.
I mean, this could end up being a big night for him. I mean, if this quarter is any indication.
Toronto, they've gone 7 of 13 from the field since the start of the second. Yep, that one goes in there.
Assists like that have typified their effort today. Terrific.
Here's Mr. Fundamentals. For 3. Good on the triple. Mr. Fundamentals got 7 points in the game.
Unwilling to let up even for a moment.
That's an output from him, averaging more than 16 points a game. Lee with the steal. Now the Raptors moving it up. Here's Wesley. Marvelous lead pass. And here are the 76ers now. Shot to stop the run. And that's 2 points on the layup from Booker.
And if you ask me what percentage of the time he's making that shot, my answer would be in the single digits.
Yeah, that's not his spot. Plain and simple. Just trying to force something is rarely a
shot is off. Great D that time from Gibson. In the corner, Wallace with it. Hits the three-point bomb. Wallace has got 7 points.
That's the kind of D that you're not going to find.
Fades away. Up again. Controls the rebound and puts it back by the Raptors. Money's got his 5th rebound in this one. In the corner, Wallace with it. And again, Toronto with the triple.
They're getting a lot of their points outside the paint. 3 of their last 5 baskets.
Toronto's gone for the three-pointers 7 times here in the second and been successful 3 times.
Oh, what a pass, and then he lays it in with the circus move.
So smooth. Raptor shooting certainly a key for them in this one. 55% from the field. And Wallace slams it in.
Offensively, defensively, they are in total.
Pass to Lemon. Here is Slim. Shoots. Yes, and it's Rose with the assist that time. And so Toronto takes this one.
Man, the Raptors did whatever they wanted to do on the court this game. Almost 4 of their players had a double-double or close to it. So Logan almost had a 40-piece with 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and shot 16 for 23, which is almost like 70% from the field. But then Wes Wallace had 20 points. He shot 50% from the field. And then Diego Fernandez, who's not a name that is well known to me. I don't recall him getting as busy as he did in this game, but he was feasting in the fourth quarter, getting 16 points and 17 rebounds and almost perfect from the field. So the Raptors really showed up in this game, unlike the 76ers, who on the other hand did not show up. And this may be tied to some of the issues that the team is dealing with right now. So first and foremost, Randall Cameron has been out with a sprained MCL, which is part of the reason why the scoring is so weak, because he normally gets a lot of his buckets in the paint as well as from the mid-range. But despite this, Shannon, Angel, and Wesley, they should have been able to fill the gap despite the fact that Randall is out. Secondly, Ralph Holloway and Dean Pearson, they both want to be traded, so the vibe in the locker room is probably off. But nonetheless, all things considered, I didn't expect them to play this bad. So Shannon himself, although he scored 17 points, he didn't really show up until the fourth quarter when he was going up against the Raptors' third string. The same could be said for Dean Pearson, but the most egregious in my mind was Angel Reed's 2 points, and he shot 1 for 12 from the field. And then Wesley's Law's 3 points, shooting 1 for 6 from the field. And then finally we have Ralph Holloway, who had 6 points, shooting roughly 30% from the field, if not 30%. And so the bench, which includes Clarence Booker, Gabriel Craig, Roderick Henderson, they scored 42 out of the 83 points on the 76ers, which is wild. So if this team continues this way, they're probably not going to make it to the playoffs, which is disappointing because they have a star-studded team. But let's take a look at my team results before we end up looking at the conference standings for both the West and the East. So starting off with the Lakers, we had a rough week, finishing with 1 win and 2 losses. And as you saw in the intro, Eli Harris and company gave us a run for our money, as did the Celtics in the game that we saw earlier today. What surprised me the most was the loss to the Knicks, especially since we just beat them the week before. So if you look at the scoreboard, Shea Cunningham was still beasting, getting 28 points, but he was also not as board dominant as he usually is. Theo Payne, he was still beasting as well. He got a double-double with 16 points and 11 rebounds. But one of the factors in our loss I'm attributing to is Imani Ulis, who normally scores a single-digit point kind of game, but in this game he almost had a triple-double and shot for over 50% from the field and 50% from beyond the arc. And you know it's bad when Pablo led the team in scoring, because he isn't the assertive type on the court, at least from what I've seen. But Dion King and Gilbert Hajiwara both had a double-double with nearly identical shooting splits. But it's Raphael who got clamped up, only shooting 2 for 12, which is subpar for him. And he was able to contribute with his 11 rebounds and 10 assists. But from a scoring perspective, he simply didn't show up. Now, when we take a look at the Mavericks, you'll see that we finished the week winning both of our games, although they were very close. And I was honestly more concerned with this Trailblazer game more than I was about the Clippers game. And that's kind of foul to say, but considering that the Clippers are the worst in the West, I was more concerned with the Trailblazers considering the run they've been over the past couple of weeks. So I say that because Chase went off at 33 points. He had 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and he shot 11 for 18, which is solid for him. But shockingly enough, Leo Marai had a surprising performance, getting 19 points, and even Rod McGee surprised me with his 12 points. Steve, he has proven to be a valuable team member ever since I've started playing him at the 5, and he almost had a triple-double and definitely helps on the defensive end, although his scoring wasn't that high in points. But then Eddie and Neal, they left much to be desired in this game, where they have very low scoring. But if you take a look at the Trailblazers, you'll see they had a lot of momentum in the third and fourth quarters. And David Weber has been feasting over the past couple of weeks. And you'll see that in this game, he had 29 points and 12 assists. And it looks like the momentum that he had from the previous week is still going on. VJ Abdulaziz, he had a breakout game with 17 points. Andre Redding, as you know, he's been getting more and more involved in the offensive side of the house ever since he came back from his injury earlier in the season. But he had a double-double and he shot 50% from the field. Now, this game could have gone either way if you really look at it. And as you saw in the previous game, I believe it was last week, Rashawn Lowe was going off. And in this game, he did not perform as well. And secondly, Eric Liu is at least at this point in time, he was out with an injury. He's actually back in the lineup now. And so he wasn't available from a scoring perspective on their behalf. And so that's why I was actually worried about the Trailblazers. We only won by 5 points. And so if those contributing factors were different, the game could have gone the other way. Now with the Clippers, we only won by 8 points. I didn't expect it to be as close, but nonetheless, we still got the win. Like I said, I wasn't worried. Even if we did lose, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal in my book compared to the other teams that we're going against. But now if we take a look at the Pelicans, you'll see that we had a monster week where we won all 4 games this week, with the notable wins against the Jazz and the Spurs. Now, in the game against the Jazz, Miles went off for 33 points, and Axe went off as well with 26 points, 8 assists, shooting 10 for 15 from the field. And I must admit, I need this type of energy all of the time. Now, I know there's going to be some slumps, but seriously, earlier this season, I was very frustrated with Axe's performance, shooting 1 for 10 sometimes, getting only 2 points, 3 points here. So for him to get 26 points, 8 boards, 3 steals, like I need this type of energy all of the time. In addition to that, Zach and Michael both scoring 17 points, shooting 6 for 10, 5 for 11 respectively, is unheard of, and I need this type of energy more consistently going forward. Same thing with Stephen Lee. He's been down for the cause. I'm not even gonna talk trash about him. He's consistently getting double-doubles. 14 points in this case, 10 boards, shooting 5 for 11. I'm not too upset with it. If we can get his points up, that would be even better. Same thing with Dario Floyd. 11 points, shooting 5 for 11 is not bad since he's coming off the bench, but if we can get him to the 20s, it might be tough, but if we can get him there, that would be even better. But then finally, KC, he definitely had an off night because I think of Robin Campbell, who not only clamped him up, but got 29 points on his head, shooting 10 for 18. Julian Gamble as well was given, I believe he was given Stephen Lee problems with his 25 points, shooting 8 for 14. And then Wyatt Page had 14 points. Forget his name. I think it's Darren Fletcher, who had 13 points, shooting 5 for 12. And then Randy Quinn, 13 points, shooting 3 for 5. So ultimately, I think we had a solid outing against a decent team. I wouldn't say they're a great team, but they're definitely a runner for the playoffs or a contender for the playoffs. And so for us to get this 10-point win, it's solid in our book. Now, if we take a look at the game that we had up against the Spurs, you'll see that Miles showed up again with another 30-point game, 6 rebounds and 8 assists. Axe had another great performance with 27 points. Steven had another, or Steve, yeah, is it Stephen Lee? Am I bugging? Steven, yeah, it's Stephen Lee. He had another double-double with 20 points and 15 rebounds. Zach had another 20-piece game. Henry had a 10-piece game. And Casey was more effective, but he still couldn't get as much production as I'd like from him, probably because of Spencer Wang, who had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 steals. Now, Seth Gibbs and Ed Mack, they tried to do as much as they could, but they couldn't get it done, mainly because they didn't get as much support as they would like from the bench. And so as a result, I think that's why we were able to get such a resounding win up against the Spurs. Now, outside of the games, there are some nuances related to the team that I recently found out. One being that Stephen Lee, he wants out of the Pelicans. He's actually asked for a trade, as well as Giovanni Mancini. But I'm more shocked about Stephen than I am about Giovanni because he was recently called back up from the G League. Same thing, we have Makai Jing. He wants to be traded from the team as well. So I may be looking to make some moves considering that the trade deadline is coming up in the next 2 weeks. So there may be some additional changes to the team. I'll see what I can get out there for the piece that we have. But more to come there. And so before we wrap up this vid, we still need to take a look at the conference standings, both in the West and the East. So let's take a look at that real quick. Now, it is a battle for the 1 seed. The Warriors are at the top again, and they're currently on an 8-game win streak. And this week they beat the Nuggets, Magic, Trailblazers, and the Jazz. But they barely beat the Jazz by 1 point, led by Isaiah Marsh, who had a career high of 28 points, 11 boards, shooting 13 for 15 from the field. Kenji averaging close to a double-double during the stretch, where he had 18.3 points and 9 rebounds. Isaiah March had a good stretch, averaging a double-double as well during the stretch with 14.4 rebounds and 10.3 rebounds. Now, as you can see, the Lakers are down 1 slot to the 2 seed, and the Warriors are slowly pulling away from the pack, but right now the Lakers are comfortably at 2 with a 4-game lead up against the 3 seed, which is the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs, they finished their week with 2 weeks and 2 losses, with the notable win against the Suns as well as the Heat, but they had a surprising 32-point loss to the Pelicans, which I just analyzed not too long ago. The Kings are still at 4. They finished the week with 1 win and 2 losses. And then of those losses, they were to the Jazz as well as the Pistons, but they did have a 5-point win against the Heat. The Mavericks, they're up 2 slots to the 5 seed, currently on a 3-game win streak, beating the Trailblazers and the Clippers this week, as we saw previously. The Rockets are up to the 6th seed, they're up 3 slots to the 6th seed, and they're currently on a 6-game win streak with Eli back in the lineup. And this week they beat the Lakers, which we saw, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. And Sean Hornacek led the team in scoring, averaging 24.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6.7 assists. Eli, on the other hand, averaged 19 points and 18 rebounds. Now, if you take a look at the Suns, they're down to the 7th seed. They finished the week 2 games, 2 losses, with notable win against the Knicks and a loss to the Celtics and the Spurs, and they almost won against the Pacers, but they couldn't eke it out in the end. The Trailblazers are still at 8. They finished the week with 3 wins and a loss, with a 4-game win streak that came to an end by the Bulls, which was led by Lance Baylor, who had 26 points. They did have wins against the Raptors despite Logan Wolf's 39 points, and they beat the Nuggets as well as the Pacers. The Jazz are down to the 9th seed. They currently are on a 2-game losing streak. They finished their week with 1 week and 3 losses. They almost beat the Warriors, as I mentioned before, losing by 1 point. They lost to the Pelicans as well as the Pacers, but they did beat the Kings, which was led by Julian Gamble, who had 38 points. The Pelicans are up 2 slots to the 10th seed, as we mentioned before. And what I didn't mention was that over this whole stretch, this whole week, Miles averaged 36.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists, and he was actually named the player of the week, so kudos to Miles. Over this stretch, Axe averaged 27 points and 6.8 rebounds, Steven averaged 16.5 points and 14.8 rebounds, and then Zach averaged 14 points and 6 assists. The Thunder are down to the 11th seed. They're currently on a 5-game losing streak, losing to the Heat, Trailblazers, Rockets, and the Magic. The Nuggets are down to the 12th seed. They're currently on a 5-game losing streak, having lost to the Warriors, Pacers, Timberwolves, and Rockets this week. The Trailblazers are still at 13. They finished the week with 1 win and 2 losses, with the losses coming at the hands of the Mavericks and the Warriors. They did win against the Thunder, and I will say that Damon tried his best, and by Damon I mean David Weber, where he averaged 26.7 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 12 assists over the entire week. Andre had 16 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 5 assists, and Rashawn Lowe had 15.7 points despite the low-scoring game that he had up against the Mavericks. And then to round up the starting 5, Max Singh had 12.7 points, but the rest of the team really didn't show up this week. The Grizzlies are still at 14. They're currently on a 9-game losing streak, losing to the Cavs, Pelicans, and Celtics this week. And then the Clippers are still at 15, currently on an 8-game losing streak, losing to the Pelicans, Mavs, and the Hawks this week. So it was a rough week out in the West for those that are below 500. But let us take a look at the Eastern Conference before we wrap up this video. Now, there is a lot of competition in the East, but the one thing that remains the same is that the Knicks are still at the 1 seed. So they finished the week with 2 wins, 2 losses. They won against the 76ers and the Lakers, boo-hoo me. But they did lose to the Suns and the Cavs, surprisingly, this week. Now, over this stretch, Shea Cunningham averaged 29.3 points and had 9.3 rebounds, and Theo Payne averaged 20 points and 15.5 rebounds. Now, the Bucks are actually up 1 slot to the 2 seed, and they finished their week on a 3-game win streak with notable wins against the Celtics and the Bulls, but they barely beat the Nets in a game where they had 110 to the Nets 109. Omar Abdul-Rauf averaged 22.7 points and 14.7 rebounds. Lawrence Peters averaged 16.7 points and 6 rebounds. And there was an unexpected performance by Mike Suarez, who averaged 17 points over the entire stretch, so kudos to him. Now the Hornets, they're down 1 slot to the 3 seed, but they only have 1 game this week, which is why they actually fell, and they lost against the Magic despite Hendrix Cobb's 33 points. And as you know, as I mentioned during the last week, Hendrick has been going off over these past couple of weeks from a scoring perspective. So we'll see how things pan out next week as they have more games in their schedule. But then the Bulls, they're up 2 slots to the 4 seed. they finished the week with 3 wins and a loss to the Bucks. The Bulls were actually on a 4-game win streak up until the game against the Bucks, but they finished the week out with a win against the Timberwolves led by Lance Baylor, who had 26 points. The Magic are up 3 slots to the 5 seed, and they're currently on a 2-game win streak. And they had a 33-point win against the Hornets, as I mentioned before, despite Hendricks' best efforts, as mentioned before. And they also won against the Thunder, but lost to the Warriors. The Celtics are down 1 slot to the 6th seed, and they finished the week with 2 wins, 2 losses, losing to both the Bucks and the Lakers, but they also beat the Suns and the Grizzlies. Alberto Medina had a career high of 30 points in the game against the Grizzlies, so kudos to him. The Hawks are up 2 to the 7th seed, and they're currently on a 4-game win streak, and that streak began with a win against the Spurs, followed by wins against the Pistons, Raptors, and the Clippers. And since his return, Aaron Lawrence is averaging 15.8 points and 10.3 rebounds, and surprisingly enough, Tyler Yu this week has averaged 22.5 points and scored a career high of 30 points up against the Clippers, so kudos to him. The 76ers are down 4 slots to the 8th seed, and that shouldn't be surprising considering what we just saw them play up against the Raptors. But as you can see, they had a rough week. They lost 3 out of their 4 games this week. After losses to the Nets, Bulls, and Knicks, the 76ers were able to end the streak by beating the Nets again at the end of the week. But then they lost horribly to the Raptors in a game which we just saw, where Logan Wolf had 37 points. The Raptors are down 2 slots to the 9th seed. They finished the week with 2 wins and 2 losses, with wins against the Wizards and the 76ers, but they had losses to the Timberwolves and the Hawks, and during this stretch, Logan Wolf averaged 32.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 9.3 assists, so kudos to Logan. The Heat, they're still at 10. They also finished the week with 2 wins and 2 losses, with the wins coming up against the Thunder and the Wizards, and those losses coming up against the Spurs and the Kings. The Pistons are currently on a 2-game win streak after beating the Wizards and the Kings, and they finished their week winning 2 out of the 3 games that were on their schedule. The Cavs are still at 12. They finished the week with 2 wins and a loss, and they won against the Grizzlies and almost beat the Knicks, led by Bayou James, who had 26 points. And over the week, Bayou averaged 28 points, and Russell Bowen averaged 18.7 points. The Pacers are still at 13. They finished the week with 2 wins and 2 losses, with wins against the Nuggets and the Jazz, surprising, losses to the Timberwolves and the Suns, and Kane Lighty had a career high of 44 points against the Suns, averaging 26.3 points, 10 rebounds, and 6.7 assists over the week, and Sylvester Roncati averaged 28.7 points and 9 assists over the week, so kudos to them. The Wizards are still at 14, currently on a 4-game losing streak with losses to the Bulls, Raptors, Pistons, and the Heat. And then finally, we have the Nets still at 15, and they're currently on a 2-game losing streak, losing both games this week up against the Bucks and the 76ers. And oddly enough, they beat the 76ers last week, 115-80, which was led by Derek Hilliard. However, this week they lost to the 76ers 79-86, despite Ronnie Sanders' 23 points. And as always, I enjoy making these vids. I hope you enjoy watching these vids. And until next week, I hope you have a good one. Later.